So the first step, we're going to need 4 programs. Number 1, of course, is Open Broadcast Software. Second program that we will need is Mumble. Third program we will need is a program called Voicemeeter Banana. That's M-E-E-T-E-R. And lastly, it's the same company. It's free, but we need the virtual audio cable. When you first open up OBS, you're greeted with a whole bunch of stuff that you might not recognize. OBS is basically a cookbook. And using OBS, you can decide what type of audio goes where, what type of live recording from which source goes where, and if you even have like a preset playlist or some previously recorded videos that you want to include in your live stream, OBS is where it goes. Now there are a couple of main sections for OBS. This section to the right is what your viewers are seeing if you're going to be streaming live at the moment. This section to the left is the spot where you can see the changes that you make before you send them over to this screen and make them live. So while this screen is running, maybe you have a previous set of videos that you want to play while you're preparing your live feed. You can let this play in the background live while you make some minor adjustments or tweaks to this section over here. Now the bottom part consists of 3 main sections. Your scenes, your sources, I'll get into that later. This is a gold mine. This middle section is the audio mixer. And over here is the general settings for OBS. If you want to start streaming, start recording, change the mode, do other settings. So if OBS is like a giant cookbook, the scenes are an individual recipe. So right now, I frankly am sick and tired of hearing that air conditioning. So I want to create a scene. The one by default is already there. I'm going to rename it Audio Live. So Audio Live. So Audio Live is my recipe. What are my ingredients? And how do I combine them to make that recipe? The ingredients and how to combine them, this is what sources are. So I'm going to plus audio input. Audio input, I'm going to create new, I'm going to call this push to talk. Simple enough. Alright, so what is my device? This device is going to be my headphones, my Logitech G930 gaming headset. Okay, so now since I'm switching to my graphics card recording to the OBS recording, I'm going to add my display capture. Now you have to be real careful when you add a display capture because it's automatic and it's going to capture everything that you have no matter what. I'm going to hit OK because I'm cool with that. I'm going to hit the transition because I already prepared. Like if I had a bunch of nonsense on my desktop, it'd be like, whoa, I've suddenly streamed whatever's on my desktop. Now what I just did is I hit the start recording button. But this air conditioning is really bumming me out, and I'm sure it's bumming you out. So the sources, we have the ingredients, and now the thing called filters is how to prepare those ingredients. So OBS is a cookbook, the Audio Live is the recipe, we have an entire monitor capture, and my microphone. Those are the individual ingredients on the recipe in the cookbook. But how do we prepare those ingredients? And that's filters. Filters shows up for every single thing in your sources list. Filters. Add. It's pretty intuitive. What we want desperately is noise suppression. We'll call this AC for air conditioning. The default settings are probably good. Hit close. Do you hear that? It's so calming. The air conditioning instantly stopped. Your blood pressure is going down a little bit. You can hear me fine. I haven't changed anything that I'm doing. But OBS is like an entirely different world. And I don't have to turn my air conditioning off because it's warm in Southern California right now. It was 90 degrees today. I don't have to suffer in the heat. And you don't have to suffer listening to this freaking air conditioning. Everybody wins. Now, right now, it's just constantly recording. But what I do and what I prefer is to have the push to talk enabled for OBS. So you go over to File, to Settings, and yep, you guessed it, go over to Audio, and here's an interesting thing. So this push to talk, the only reason that says push to talk is because I named this push to talk. If I exit out, and if I rename this to Francis, with the caps lock all messed up, I go back to settings, I go back to audio, and it's Francis. If I add a whole bunch of other audio sources just randomly, Voicemeeter aux out, and I go back to File, Settings, and Audio, suddenly I see Audio Input Capture, the thing I just added. So Francis, and you see, when I'm silent, the green thing doesn't do anything. And when I speak, the green thing goes up. So Francis is what we want. Enable push to talk. What's the push to talk button? Hotkeys. Oh, here we go. Here we have our dear Francis. Push to talk. I prefer caps lock. Apply. Now you can hear me, and now you cannot. Only when I press the caps lock button does it respond. And we still have our filter, so you can't hear the air conditioning. It's great. And if I let go of my push to talk button, whatever that chose to be, it's a beautiful thing. The audio is already way better than you ever thought it would be. And the air conditioning is still turned on, so it's cool for me too. So here we go. We got our cool push to talk called Francis. We got our display capture. It's a 2-ingredient sandwich called Audio Live. For an example, in the cookbook called OBS. We want something else though, because I've been listening to this cool jam on my music beat player, but you can't hear it. You see the timer's going, it's 43 seconds, 44. The EQ thing's jumping. How do we add it? Here's how you add it. Add an ingredient. Add an audio output. Audio output is the stuff that goes to your speakers. And we're going to call this desktop audio because that's what makes sense. I spelled it correctly, that's cool. The desktop audio, where does it go normally? It goes through my headset. It goes through the speakers in my headset. We're going to hit that. And there's one more important thing. You might be going like, hey, I added it. Why can't I hear the music? You have to hit the transition button. This is like, here's all the ingredients. And up here is like the oven that you put them in. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3 ingredients. but I need to put this desktop audio in the oven. And right when I hit the transition button, oh, isn't that nice? It's very nice. It's very soothing. If I pause it, the music pauses. Let's start it right back up. If it's a little too loud, I can turn it down just a little bit. If my voice is too loud, I can turn my voice down a little bit. That's what the audio mixer is for. The audio mixer is your friend. Your audio mixer is really great. And the push to talk button is super cool. This whole program is nice. What if we want to do some pre-recorded stuff? Well, for that, we need a different recipe with completely different ingredients. We're still going to use OBS because it's a great cookbook, but let's create a brand new recipe. This will be called Recordings. And you notice, when you select Recordings, all your ingredients go away. It's because this is a brand new recipe. Look, you click on Audio Live, everything's still there. If you click on Recordings, it's a brand new thing. So we're going to go add a VLC video source. VLC video source I've found is the best way to get a playlist of things. Alright, we're going to add some pre-recorded videos to our recipe list, but I also want you to see what's happening on the screen. So I'm going to add a display capture, and we're not going to make a new one, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hit add existing display capture, and you're good. Now, when I hit this transition button, my audio will cease to exist, because Francis, my push to talk, only exists here. You see it says Francis on my ingredients list. I just created a brand new recipe called Recordings with only the display. So once I hit this transition button, my audio is going to go away until I add it. The moment that I hit the transition button, it's good. Because it's a different recipe. It's not audio live, it's recordings. But it can have the same ingredients as before. That's just fine. And it has 2 out of 3. So what's the third one we want? We want a playlist, VLC video source. We'll call it Video. That's fine. So now it's asking you for a playlist. The playlist we're going to add exists on our desktop. We're going to hit Add Files. It's already there. I'm going to hit Open. It could be MP4, it could be whatever type of files you want. Boom. It's a video. And again, you might be asking, where's my video? But remember, you got to put this in the oven. You got to put the video, and you got to hit transition, and then boom. Now you can probably see, but the audio from that video source is super loud. So Voicemeeter, when you open it up, it looks like a cockpit from a fighter jet. It's terrible. You got this flashing red and white thing. You got 80,000 dials. I myself only understand this program like 2% of the way, but that 2%, that's all you really need to know. So here, first thing first is A1, A2, A3. What this does is allows you to send different inputs to different output settings. Like, I have my headphones that I'm listening to. I have my computer set up through an HDMI cable to an actual television with television speakers. And I have my computer set up on optical audio out to a surround sound system receiver. So I have a bunch of different hardware outs. The primary one that I use while streaming, we're going to call it A1. And the primary one, as you might be able to guess, is my speakers from my Logitech gaming headset. So we're going to hit that, and that horrible flashing red light went away. Now, we're only going to need 2 out of these inputs, 2 out of these 3 inputs. The first input we need, you're probably going to be able to guess it, it's microphone. Hit the microphone, but you can't just rename it. Oh, that was right click. If you right click on these, you get to the renaming thing. If you left click, beep boop, there we go. So what device am I needing to listen to? It's the microphone. So now, here's the microphone. And immediately, you'll probably notice a crazy audio delay. Don't be alarmed by that, because this is how Voicemeeter works. So this microphone, it's kicking the microphone signal to the A1 source, which if you remember, we set that to the headphones, which creates this really awkward delay. If I click on the A1, that goes away instantly. It goes away instantly. So the Voicemeeter program is still in the background processing the audio from my speakers. But since it's not currently monitoring this input source through the A1, which I selected as my headphones, I don't hear it. If I click back, then that horrible awkward delay comes back. Just get rid of A1. You don't need A1. Okay, so A1, A2, and 3, A1, A2, and 3, they are the different outputs. If I wanted to route A2 through the speakers in my television that I have through HDMI, I can set that up. NVIDIA High Definition, this is my TV model number. If I wanted to set up 2, I can click on that, and I can click on 2, and suddenly, well, you heard the echo. Suddenly, it's a nightmare echo through my television system. So that's basically how it works. So the microphone, I can send it to nothing, and just have it go nowhere in particular. I can monitor it here, or I can monitor it through any other things. Now, hardware input 2 selection is where it gets relevant to streaming. What we are going to select is cable, and we're going to right click and hit cable. And then left click input device, we want it to be the Voicemeeter Banana audio virtual cable. And now we're going to open up Mumble. There is a way for you to send your audio, for you to listen to your buddy's audio and send that audio, and also a way while simultaneously doing everything, listen to your own personal audio without broadcasting that. And this is where we're getting at here with this Voicemeeter Banana audio virtual cable, which is really cool. So the input, A1, A1, A1. A1 is our headset. If we set it to A2, it's going to go to the TV speakers. If we set it to A1, it's going to be the echo. We don't want to listen to the headphones in A1, but we do want to listen to the mumble in the A1. So the audio is going to cut out here a little bit when I do the mumble settings. But basically, if you run through the audio wizard,
this is an example of Speaks, an audio compression.
Well, the input is your speakers or your headset. The output needs to be set to VB cable. So VB cable is running on A1 because it's currently being monitored. When I hit A1, you'll see it routes all of the mumble voice. A1 was selected during that thing as an example. Through my headset. You hear the mumble computer man speaking to you, and it was muted, you couldn't. So now we have mumble. It's going from mobile to our virtual cable. It's then going from that virtual cable to Voicemeeter Banana, which we told it to reroute through A1, which is our headphone speakers, so we can hear that. At the same time, if we go back to our thing, we can add an audio input capture. It's called Mumble. And you guessed it, the device is going to be this virtual cable. Virtual cable set. Where is it? It's not there. Remember, you got to hit the transition button. There it is, mumble button. And now when we go back to the headset audio from the tutorial went out because it's in settings mode on mumble.
Example of Speaks, an audio compression codec specifically tuned for the reproduction of human speech.
And again, that was a little loud because when I was looking at my monitoring, I noticed that it was creeping up into the red area. So you can just adjust that. So now on the stream, the desk, which is what I want, I can continue listening to my music, and you won't be able to hear it unless I hit the desktop audio button. For instance, now I'm listening to some crazy music. I have my Voicemeeter monitor listening to the virtual cable, sending it immediately to my headphones, which I can listen to, while simultaneously sending that virtual audio cable into OBS. And you can see right there that it's a virtual audio cable, all while I'm listening to my music. And you'll notice if I turn the desktop audio off of mute, and we can adjust it. We can adjust it so it's a little bit of the green into the yellow. And if I don't want to turn desktop audio off, say goodbye. It's a really nice system. OBS is good. So now we probably want some sort of landing page, so we're just going to do this super quick. There's a decent landing page, but we probably want a box. That's fine. If you're in Photoshop, PNGs are awesome. Just do a quick save as. We're just going to call this PNG, and we're going to save it as a PNG. Alright, now that your cool landing page is saved as a .png file, because those are the best, go back to your program. We're going to go back to our recordings thing, so we're going to select an image. The image, we can call it background. So the background, we're going to browse, we're going to find our cool png.png, which is saved right there, boop, boop, and save, and you suddenly see it says landing page, and that's awesome. So we're going to load it up. We're going to hit the transition button. We're still on recordings. We're going to lock this background in so we can't move it anywhere because we're done moving that. And we want to hit the video button. The video recording button. And you can move that around. And that's pretty much it. That's how you do OBS in a stream. Oh, but there's one last step. Alright, so right now it's on display capture, which records everything on the display. So if you mute your thing and your banking information is up there, that's bad. What we want is to change it to window capture. So we're gonna go over here and turn off the display capture. We're going to add a window capture. I'm gonna select this and call it TagPro. And what we want specifically for TagPro, we want Chrome TagPro, and we want this window title must match. That way if you have 1,000 tabs in Chrome like I do all the time, it only selects the TagPro window. So boom, we're going to select that, transition, and there it is. There's my TagPro window. So now when I mute this, or when I change the screen, so now I'm looking at different tabs. I have a completely different tab open. I'm watching that. I'm watching a YouTube video. I'm doing other stuff on Chrome. And it's not affecting the stream. Now, I don't want this whole window, so here's the settings that I use. So the settings that I use, 320, 195, 320, 95. That's if I'm using Google Chrome with a bookmarks bar enabled with TagPro. We're going to hit close. I made a little mistake here. You do not want to do fit to screen or stretch to screen. You want to do center to screen. Because right now I made the video a little stretched, so that's no good. And you see the red bounding box? You can make it bigger or make it smaller by pulling on the sides or the corners and get it nice and centered. It'll also snap to edges, so that's pretty cool. And this is how to set up OBS with your Twitch. Click on your profile, go to dashboard, and then you'll want to go to settings channel. Click on stream key, show key, and it'll give you a warning. And then you're going to click on I understand. After you click on that, and I'm not going to show it because it's, it says never share your stream key with anyone or show it on a stream. Hit I understand and it'll show that to you. Copy that stream key. Under your settings option. And the stream Twitch, you're going to paste it right here. Beep. And then you're going to hit OK. Now, the last step is auto configuration wizard beta. It's not showing for me since I'm currently recording, but I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Optimize for stream and recording is secondary. Next, use the current. I prefer 60 or 30, but prefer 60. There's my Twitch thing that I already put on the previous input window. I'm going to hit next. I'll speed this last part up a little bit, but it's going to run through the auto configuration. When that's finished, it'll tell you its recommended settings based on its automated wizard. I would just recommend hitting apply to those recommended settings, and then you should be all set.